Okay, when that turns red, we're on the line.
Beauteous.
Oh, welcome everybody. What do we got here? Oh man, look who's in the studio with me right now. Mr. Rob Mullins.
Hey,
all the way
Henry.
from the West Coast. It's nice to see you. Look really tight.
Thanks,
you look really
man.
sharp.
You do too, sir.
You represent. That's right. You look good.
Thank you. Jazz ambassador is the role today. Jazz ambassador.
Jazz ambassador.
You know, it's respect for the music and respect for the station and the show. And here we are the day after Christmas.
And I need you to talk so I can share this out.
Sure.
Give me at least a little, and I'm going to zoom in. And this is incredible, so I can zoom in.
What's that?
And I'm going to take that one right there, that shot there.
Okay.
And what we're going to do, we're going to have you talk about yourself, a little about yourself. There's a lot of people out there who may not know who Rob Mullins is. Give us a little 2 minutes of your time. Tell us who you are, and then from there I can share it out to everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Rob Mullins. I'm a recording artist based out of Los Angeles. I'm a product of the Denver Public Schools. I went to Lincoln High, graduated in the 70s, and started making recorded jazz albums in the early 80s, starting with Dancing Through the Day and Red Shoes, Fired Up, Geared for Running. And in 1984, I made an album at Daystar Studios called Soulscape, and I was lucky enough to get a national public radio mailing list from Metro College in exchange for the use of my band for recording class. So I sent out the album when it was done to all of the national public radio stations. It went to #1, and the next thing I knew, 6 months later, I was a Grammy-nominated artist. So I moved to LA in 1986 and have enjoyed being a keyboard player, studio producer, composer, and a sideman with people like Blake Aaron, who was just on, Eric Marienthal. The Crusaders was a band that I was in when Joe Sample left, and now I'm currently the keyboard player for Hubert Laws, the flute player. So there you go, the quick summation.
The quick summation. That's a lot to talk about. I mean, he's got a lot more behind him. Rob, you've done lots and lots of good stuff. Now, multiple albums. Now, let's talk about the very first and just kind of go through them all if you can. Talk about the ones that really made impact on your career.
Well,
you know there's a couple in there that are just fascinating and sensational albums.
Well, thanks for asking. I mean, the first one we did at a place called American Recording Studios, and that studio is not there anymore, but we saved up our money. I had a fledgling band with some local players. Laura Newman, who's still a great local sax player, was in the group. And I'd written the tunes, and we raised the money. We went in there and spent a few weeks putting our thing together. And the album was called Dancing Through the Day. It was a happy thing. And Jerry Barnett came and did the horns. You might know Jerry from Moments Notice here locally. And so we sent off to, looked up all the stuff. We had to use the Yellow Pages then.
I remember that.
Because we didn't have...
Not the advent of this technology.
No, we didn't have the internet. So we're like, where are we going to see an album, LP made? So we had 1,000 albums printed up. And I remember unboxing them the very first day that they showed up. And we were sitting there in the living room and I said, man, the album looks great. And then the bass player, Marty Ruddy, he looked at me and said, well, now what do we do? So we didn't really know what the next step was, but luckily we had a great jazz station here in town called KUHS, and there was a guy over there, a DJ named Pat McNulty, who's still a local voiceover guy, and we called him. Wow. They said, great, local album, fantastic. So we took the album over, Pat put it on the air. That led to us meeting Cheryl Steele, who was also local, and then she relocated to LA. So by the time we did the next album, which was Red Shoes, she started adopting music from that album and made Red Shoes her theme song, and then it was starting to get some traction in LA. And
in Denver, we used to have KUHS. Remember, KUHS was big. It was like huge. And
well, I remember when Steve came to me to start KUHS.
Yes,
yeah, because he came and he said, man, I'm getting ready to start this station, and can we have some of your albums? So I gave him a big pile of CDs and stuff to use, and is he still around?
Well, that's the thing. It's all of a sudden they called it this smooth jazz setup that went across the nation. All of a sudden, all the stations are gone. They're all gone. But then the revitalization of jazz shows like that we have here, we have 2 of them, and they wanted a second one here on Thursdays. So
Okay.
I said okay.
Sure.
Because I didn't realize how big it really is.
Right.
And so it's huge, and so if you can get a giant audience just that quick with the jazz shows, and
Well,
especially with your kind of music and all the other music that's out there. That's just
There's a lot of good music out there.
Oh my gosh, everybody loves jazz. Mm-hmm.
I was sad to see a lot of the radio stations go down, due to whatever the reasons were.
Right.
But with all this new technology,
Stream is big. Stream is huge.
Well, the way I heard about your show was I would be on Facebook promoting an album or a gig, and you kept interrupting with your live broadcast. These broadcasts would show up, be like, now live from. I was like, wait a minute,
What's with this guy?
what is this? And I would look in there and say, man, that looks like a cool show.
Yeah.
And then eventually we talked through Facebook, which is how I ended up here today. So the technology is marvelous.
It's marvelous. And then here's the thing about what we have to do, and like I was telling Dr. Elisa, knowing all these different types of time zones.
All right.
And some people would say, like I'd say, I'm gonna play your music at night. Oh no, nobody's listening. No, I go, wait a minute. You're talking to the other side of the world.
Sure.
All nighter. Come on. And so Greg Rashid used to be with KUVO.
Mm-hmm.
He's now positioned in Bangkok, Thailand.
Nice.
As KUHS.
Uh-huh.
So he can broadcast us out there. He was telling me, God, we have these audiences from all these crazy spots.
Right.
And it's jazz.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he loves jazz.
Well, the more jazz shows are out there, I think the better it is to help us spread the music, because it really is America's true music. A lot of it is instrumental, and I like instrumental music a lot because the words are there if you want to go look them up to a lot of the classic tunes, but there's something about just hearing the beautiful sounds, like listening to John Coltrane play a ballad.
That's right.
That's unbelievable.
And see, what, the way we mix it down, we'll get some of the new and some of the older stuff and mix it together, so our programming is, wow, I remember that song. Or,
right.
Hey, I remember in town there was Dot Zero. Hey, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, Dot Zero. Yeah, man, they're named after that little town as you drive.
That's right.
Drive through the mountains.
Those guys they're on their number 15, so which 15th CD is pretty good, and they're still kicking butt. So it's
well, from the Red Shoes album, which was the one that kind of got me going in radio, then on to Soulscape. That was the thing where I wanted to do an album without the saxophone being featured.
Just, the piano. I
just
love
getting
piano.
more into the piano. So I did that album. That went huge nationally, and then I got my first record deal out in LA, and then I was with a few labels, and then it was just meeting all those incredible heroes of mine, like Wilton Felder, the sax guy from the Crusaders, and
just
Preston.
Play.
I mean, I just ended up in a band with him when I was subbing for someone, and it was a huge stage. It was at the Palladium.
Hollywood Palladium.
Yeah, Hollywood Palladium, and Wilton was, and I got the gig at the last minute. Like I drove up 5 minutes before the thing. He said, "You're in keyboard 2. You're in the very back. Just shut up, play the string parts, blah blah blah." And then I heard, as we started doing the show, I heard this amazing tenor sax sound. I'm thinking, where do I know that sound from? I've been listening to that sound so long. And then they started announcing the band. It was Wilton Felder on saxophone. So we became friends, and that led to a whole world of doors opening for me with Phil Upchurch. He used to play rhythm guitar for George Benson, with Indugu Chancellor, who played drums on Billie Jean by Michael Jackson.
Wow, nice.
So I just was quickly, and luckily for me, embraced into that group of people, and it's been a wild and exciting ride.
And for those who are just joining us, Rob Mullins in the studio right now here with me. Right, we were wishing for this kind of thing to happen, and it does. Every now and then they'll come swooping right through Denver. That's what you did. You go, hey, how do I get on there? Oh, just ask me. It's too easy.
No, it's a great show, and I didn't realize that you had it on 2 days a week along with everything else.
We had to do Mondays, and from there it said, everybody's hitting me up, how come you don't keep that going? How about Thursdays? I did a Thursday 1 hour, and they says, can you expand that?
Sure.
And so you get so many people wanting it. After a while, it's like it becomes very big.
Well, it's the international aspect of it that you mentioned, I think, is really a key thing.
And I kind of brought that up shortly. I let you take a peek at it.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Just 4,000 people will punch in just at one time, and then also just to watch. And Rob was coming on in at 12 noon. We were shifting shows, so We just delayed it a little bit so we can have Rob in here right on time with everybody else, like you say, internationally. And right in the northern quarter, London, Paris, France, Italy, we have Peter Hatton out there who also drives our setup out that way too. So,
Okay.
so it's really nice. Up in New York, it's hard to crack New York. We finally have cracked New York City. We've got
Really?
one half of 1%. I mean, I don't know what it is about those people over there in New York City. They're tough.
Well, I guess they're busy, and then it's also really cold. But you know, when it's really cold, that's when you expect everybody to be inside listening to the radio
Music, yeah.
or watching TV. I mean,
And stream. Now we can redirect all our stream, and we have the technology, the means, the support, the software, and we've just been utilizing it. And you can tell, Rob, when we punch it everywhere, everybody said, how do you get that out there? How do you do? If I would tell you that, then you'd be doing it.
well, if people could look and see what's on the other side of facing me here, it's like a White House press conference. I mean, he's got stuff all over the place packed into this
And
room.
everybody says that. You know, they take
And-
a look and see what we're doing here.
Well, I love it.
And it's interesting. And then behind us, we have some of your albums playing. We can see it on the monitor here.
Oh,
That's
right.
It's right behind you. So
All right.
It's this one was a really good album too. You know, I was playing some of your music. I only grabbed 3 of them to play.
Okay.
And I was playing some of your music, and man, it was well received. And you know, you got to tell everybody, Rob Mullins originally comes from Denver. He's ours, okay? So he's a Denverite. You know,
Denver Public Schools.
There you go.
I mean, we had this thing called Citywide Jazz Band where you could try out. It was the 9 high schools, and then somehow, all the way back then, they put together a budget for us to go out on tour.
And go
And
ahead.
you know, you're 15 years old, 16 years old, working with Irby Green and Oliver Nelson. And
your energy was so big back then when you were that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Diane Reeves was the singer for the high school Citywide Band. And
We just
played
had,
in Vegas. And it was great.
Raj Dulari in here. She got to go on the same. She's from New York City. She moved to Denver. She got to be on the same stage with Diana Reeves the other day, and she was in here. She was, it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
See, you know how you're talking about Diana Reeves right
Right.
now, and to her that was a dream come true.
You know, sure.
And
I
here
mean,
you-
Diane's done so well, and you know, her uncle Charlie Burrell is a local bass player who just turned 99 years old this
And
year.
still
So,
jamming, probably.
shout out to Charlie. I haven't seen him since his 90th,
Whoa.
and on his 90th, he came to my gig at Dazzle, and we had a little tribute for him. And he sat in and played, and he just sounded great.
And Dazzle brings in some greats, you know, like yourself. And, now, I think everybody probably wants to know what is his preference. What is Rob's preference of piano? Now, you're going to love this. Brand name preference of piano.
A brand name preference of piano. I would have to say
Yamaha, Steinway.
I like Yamahas, I like Steinways, I like Kawais.
Kawhi. Good stuff too. Yeah.
But you know, the store that I teach out of in Los Angeles is a Fazioli dealership,
So you,
and that's Herbie Hancock's piano we have
so you
there.
endorse, you get that.
So I like them, but you know, having played in so many fantastic and also horrible situations over the years, I really like the piano with 88 working keys.
Yeah.
That was recently tuned. That has microphones that aren't broken. You know, I mean, those things are really important when you're out touring. It's not always a great piano, but you know, a place here in town, a piano store that has a really great little hall is
That's a house piano.
Schmidt's.
Schmidt's.
They used to be Wells Music.
Yes.
So I went in there and I met those guys. They were great, and they have a little recital hall with a Steinway grand next to a Kawai, 2 pianos, and those pianos were both great. So
Borzendorfer. You played Borzendorfer.
Busendorfer is good. They have one of those at Don West place. It used to be a no frio piano. Now it's
Right,
called
on
Classic.
On Broadway.
Classic pianos.
Right.
Yeah, he's got the big 9-foot thing. And Don's a super nice
Yeah.
local guy. I went in and talked to him a couple weeks ago. So it's more really about each individual instrument, I think.
Yeah, because each
You know,
each instrument
They all have a
is-
character.
Yes, and each one speaks to you as you play it. And then
Right.
the tuner, when he comes out to tune it, you always get on it before he leaves. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait.
That one note up there.
Yeah.
That
What-
one
did you
note
miss
up
that?
there.
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah, well, I think that's part of why in places like LA where they're really kind of penny pinching and not so much about the arts, because I've always thought of LA as an entertainment capital. It's not an arts town. It's an entertainment capital. So if you want to get the movies, you want to get into television, you want to get into that stuff, that's a good place to be, but it's not really a jazz town. There are very few clubs, And out here, it's a different kind of a feeling because people care at the club if the piano is tuned. And when I walked into Liqueur to try that piano, I think Joe Lopez was in there like a week before doing my Holly release party. I walked in there and Joe was like, "Hey, Rob, can I try the piano?" That piano was in immaculate condition and beautiful piano, in tune, everything perfect, and that inspires you as a musician to do a great job. It makes
Model Al Steinway. Do you like the Model Al?
I think I like the B.
The B Steinway.
I think I'm more of a B guy.
You just like the way 9-footers. Have you played the 9-footers?
I have, and what's great about those is that they're in pretty much every concert hall in the world. Like with Hubert, we've been to Russia and we've been to Japan and we went to India this summer, and they have those Steinways everywhere.
So tell me something, Rob. Okay, you travel all over the place.
Right.
Tell me, there's got to be one or two awesome gigs that have just stood out. Everything went perfect. The piano was great. The temperature, people, everything was good. Even your hotel room was clean.
Even the hotel.
You know how that is. You travel, you even have to. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes you get there and let's change hotels.
I think if you could pull up, so you can show everybody, just pull up my website real quick, Planet Mullins, and I'll show you a picture of this gig that we recently did with Hubert Laws. That had to be one of the most amazing and most fun gigs I've ever done, because for those of you that don't know who Hubert Laws is, he's considered the world's greatest jazz flute player. So
where would I go from here, Rob?
down to the you passed it. That picture right there, if you could blow that picture up.
Yeah, I think is this the one I did on
just make the whole page bigger, just like boop, if you can. Yeah, I think you just have to go like this, right? There you go, and then scroll up so people can see it. We missed it. So just go back down a little bit. Okay, right here. Now look at this picture, folks. This is right before he went on. This was the celebration of Hubert's 80th birthday party in Houston, Texas. And those people out there, he's originally from Houston. He's a national jazz master through the NEA. And I've been his keyboard player for 27 years. So I've considered myself lucky, right? And so he said, they're having some show for me in Houston. Do you want to play it? I said, yeah. So we rehearsed. We went down. Look at this frickin' crowd that he drew in his hometown. I mean, it was somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000 people. And in his band, I play the Fender Rhodes, which is the electric.
I was just going to ask you about the Fender Rhodes.
Yeah, there's also a pianist in his band. But I'm mostly doing Rhodes and the orchestral aspects of his music. And that was just a couple of months ago. We had an incredible concert with all those people.
Isn't this the one I used on your poster?
Yeah.
Yes, and so I was trying to get your latest stuff and make it look good.
No, it's fantastic. And since he's from there and the Crusaders were from there, then before we were in town early, and he said, let's go get some catfish, and let's go get some soul food, and he had these little places in the 5th Ward where those guys all grew up. Where this place has been here 60 years, and he bought us dinner, and you're a fantastic guy to work with, and of course his music is just impeccable. So that was a gig that just happened that was amazing. I mean,
now they provided the Rhodes, right? Fender Rhodes.
Yeah. And
did you ever own one?
Oh yeah,
of course.
Every
keyboard player in Denver, in the world.
I bought one in high school, and I remember bringing it home, and my dad looking at it because I didn't have really a music room, and I'm looking at it saying, "That's not staying in the living room there. That's not going to go in the living room."
Did you ever break any of the tines and have to get them refixed?
Oh yeah. Well, I did more than that. I mean, we were in high school, so we would drop it out of a car into the snow on occasion.
You're really bringing back memories. Yeah, those are the times when you jam and going to gigs. What the F did you do that for? You did it. No, you did it.
Well, the snow was crazy enough. There was a club here called the BBC that eventually became the Bombay Club. Is at 1128 Grant in the old Governor's Mansion. And I remember hauling my roads up the fire escape, trying to get it up there to the gig in a snowstorm. So a lot of great memories of my time here, man. It's thrilling to be back.
Yeah, see, and Rob Mullins, if you're joining us once again, Rob Mullins in the studio here at KUHS, a Christmas exclusive. How do you like that Christmas present? Rob Mullins.
Da-da-da.
It's really, yeah, I always do. You know, it's always nice to have Rob in the studio. First ever, actually.
Right.
There's a lot of big names get to come through here, and they do. They're coming from all over the, internet.
Oh, yeah. Well, it'll be more and
one
more.
One of the guys of the Singers of the Platters came through. He's one of our buddies. You probably remember him.
Nice.
And so there's all these individuals that come through here that share their stories, and they're from Denver, and then they've gone elsewhere and had some fun. And of course, Rob is letting us know what's going on in his world. Now, you've got how many albums? Listen to this.
37.
37 albums. And
37 albums.
Every one of them, to me, sounds great. I mean, which one did the best for you?
Well, it depends on what you mean by did the best.
Well,
I mean,
in terms of you had great artwork, you had good musicians on it.
Well, Soulscape was great.
Yeah, because I was checking out Soulscape.
Yeah, Soulscape was good, but after that one, when I did Fifth Gear, that was an amazing project because it was Larry Thompson, a local drummer here, and Marty Ruddy on bass, and it was mostly a trio record, and that thing, internationally especially, it just went huge. It just went huge.
That's the thing, internationally, the jazz music is so big, and I didn't realize it. We first started, messing around here in the studio. We were trying to get all genre going here because we first started with just R&B, oldies, some Spanish music, trying to, incorporate it all in there, but it just plateaued out. Once I took it with jazz, all genre, we took some country in here. It's like this place took off.
It explodes.
It explodes. It's like,
it's
especially
great.
the jazz has been. I thought, Jesus, it was. I couldn't believe what it did.
Well, you're filling that gap of all those stations that went away.
That's right. It's
and
like
I
everybody
think,
looks for that.
It's just kind of a natural thing that happens, and I noticed too, because people ask me, I was with Pat McNulty a couple of weeks ago, just shooting the breeze about stuff. It was like, well, what happened to so and so from this station?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What about that? And radio people move around a lot. Radio
Exactly.
people switch networks. They switch to different states. They go abroad, like your guy over in Thailand. And so you've got to really stay up on that every year to keep track of what's
And that's
happening.
true. It's exactly right. And we've had some big BDJs. We call them BDJs because we've incorporated video, audio, everything into our studio. So it's a whole new world now.
I love it, man.
And so,
oh yeah,
we've got some big ones in here, and they've come from KBPI, they've come from 101, 107, they've come from all the big stations.
right.
So I was like, and then they leave, just like you said. All of a sudden they're here.
Well, they're here and they go because job opportunities change and this and that. But
Do you remember KIMN radio?
KIMN.
It was a AM station, one of the biggest stations in Denver.
Okay.
And they used to have the Kim chicken and everything. I don't know if you remember that. It was way back in the day.
They had their own chicken?
Yeah, Kim chicken.
Well, then they had to be great. I remember early on in high school listening to a station that I think it was based out of Boulder. Maybe you know them, KFML.
Yes. Oh,
Do you remember them? They were community radio.
No. Do you remember this one part about it, man?
I got a story too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You turn down your your video and you listen to the radio, and they would put the words and everything back into it for you. Hey man, and all that. I love that. You know what we were going to do? Let me tell you what we were thinking of doing the same kind of clip. One day of a special show doing that, but they did. You think we think we should try it?
I think as long as you're not going to lose your license, you ought to give it a try. But my story
Well,
about
it's legal here in Denver, so what's going to change?
Well, two things about that. One is that I'm dyslexic, so when I tried typing in KUHS, the first thing today is I typed in KUSH.TV, and then I looked on my computer. I was like, "Whoa! I don't think they're selling weed on this channel, are they?"
We get that so much, KUHS radio. We get that so much, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing about KFML.
And that was actually part of it, so that we could bring the talk going.
Right.
You got to get everybody talking.
You remember back in the days when it was all LPs.
Yes.
And the CD hadn't been invented yet. We had LPs and we had cassettes. So one night I'm listening to this. I'm listening to KFML, and they had on Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, man, Pink Floyd The Wall. This is far up. And the guy, like you said, he was like, "No, we got some Pink Floyd coming," and he let the thing go to the end. But you know how when an album gets to the end, it goes. That guy wasn't even in the building. Like, that sound at the end of that side of the album was like 45 minutes. I remember calling up my friend saying,
Dude.
"Do you think the guy's ever going to turn it over and come back in?" Probably not. And eventually he did, but he was gone a long
Yeah,
time.
I used to listen to KFML.
Yeah, great. Man.
Yeah, a lot of these stations. I went back and did a lot of research before we launched this one.
Uh-huh. How long have you been here now?
This is believe it or not, let's see how old you think this station is.
I don't know, maybe 10 years?
Yeah, 13 years old.
13.
13 years old.
Okay.
And then 5 years ago, we launched all the high-tech exotic devices in here. And so,
Well, that's an investment, man. People don't realize how
and then the two
expensive
big
it is.
servers we carry ourselves.
Okay.
And we carry up to a bigger server that carries it to platforms all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, it's people don't understand how much is really invested in this.
Well, it's expensive, so let's do a pledge drive announcement. Actually, why not? Actually, I made a folder. I made a folder of music for your listeners.
Yes.
A special one, and we should tell everybody what that is, because it's
Yeah.
music from the 80s. If you don't remember me from the 80s, then maybe one of these songs will jog your memory. But here's the website address. It's www.planetmullins.com / capital K, capital U, capital H, capital S, number 8, number 0. So KUHS 80. planetmullins.com, KUHS 80. And there's a big bunch of music in there for your fans to,
Isn't that cool?
to get free. All remasters of 80s stuff that people probably,
remember
made their children to.
You're great, Rob. Your personality is, you belong in here. You sure you don't want to come and work here too? Hey,
no, I'd love to. And this is what's so great. You're talking about the technology. Now, here's my friend Lucy on Facebook. I'm tuned in, and I'll take you and your music as a Christmas present any day of the week.
Oh, see.
How sweet is that?
That is very cool.
Lucy, this is Henry. Henry, this is Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. It's a pleasure.
And she's a fan of mine. She's in Palm Springs, and I invited her last night to come check out the show, and she said, "Oh, I'll definitely be tuning in." And she had a request too. I don't know if you can play a CD here or not, but maybe we'll get to her request a little later in the show.
Sure, you bet.
Okay.
And of course, we can do almost anything here. I'll rip it down off the net or whatever we have to do. I can get it done.
Well, I love that you can get the picture of. I mean, that really brings people into it, and so that was a great gig with Hubert. We also went to India, and this is what made me laugh when you, since you must have been in a road band, because when you said, the gig with a clean hotel room, I was like, oh man, because when we went to India, this was just over 4th of July weekend, right? And I was a little nervous about that. Have you been over there?
No, a couple of my friends
Your friends have gone?
Yeah.
And they come back with these stories that are crazy, and all of my friends were going, oh, you're going to need this vaccination, you need these 4 shots, and people are going to be in the street, it's going to be horrible, and what if you hit a cow in the tour bus? Dude, it was so nothing like that.
It's completely different.
It was completely different because we went to a place called Bangalore, which is like the Silicon Valley of the whole country.
Whoa.
It's a large country. But we got into town. It's a 31-hour flight, by the way. 31 hours. Because you fly 18:55 to Hong Kong, then you sit a while, and then you fly 6.5 to Bangalore, then you drive an hour and a half.
Oh,
and when we pulled up to this thing, I was a little nervous. We were on a back road. It was the middle of the night. We've been flying all night,
and you're tired.
I'm tired. I'm thinking, man, I sure hope this is going to be cool. When we pull up to this thing, it was like the Berlin Wall before the wall fell. The armed guards out there and all that stuff, and I'm thinking,
oh my freaking God.
I came all the way here to get shot. Fantastic, just what I need. Can't wait to tell everybody. So, but you pull out your passport and they say, oh, Hubert Laws, blah blah blah, and they had a guy that spoke English. They took us into a private city of 7 beautiful condo towers, where we were up on the top floor, all the way at the end, and it was incredible. I had a master bedroom suite. I could walk out of my master bedroom onto a sidebox patio with a real putting green of real grass
What?
on it, with an ashtray, and I'm a smoker, and you can't smoke anywhere in like L.A.
Yeah.
Thing.
What are you smoking?
You're a smoker. You're gonna, So, but I got out and I lit up my first cigarette. And I'm thinking, man, I got a patio box there. We got free food. I got the master condo, and then something else happened. Can I put something on?
Sure.
So, and I flew with Land Richards, who's like the drummer to many stars, including Hubert. He's great. And so anyway, we had gone all night long, and we were really, really, really tired. And so, Land's like, oh man, you get the master bedroom, you're the biggest guy. I'm like, okay, see you in the morning. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden, I've got to go back one. All of a sudden, this happens. You can hear me. I kicked over my glass. Like, what the hell is that? It's coming from the outside.
They were looking for The Exorcist, were they? You're that sound in The Exorcist movie.
This is Indian for "We found your bag." We found your bag. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was believing you.
This is going on, and it's really loud. And I jumped out of my room. You heard me kick over the glass there. Land jumps out of his thing. We're standing outside. He goes, what the heck is this? And it's deafeningly loud. That we figured out that it's an Islamic call to prayer that they do like 3 times a day.
Serious.
And at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, Lord.
So we had to get used to that. But it was nuts, because you're like, okay, good night. I was a little terrified.
Then you seen the priest show up, and they're doing the exorcism.
Man, I know. It was like a bad National Lampoon Vacation evening that night. It was crazy. But they have huge speaker systems on top of all the buildings where they do that.
Blast.
And they're very serious about it. Mm. So, one thing I learned is whenever you go to some other place, be respectful.
You respect everything about it.
The religion, the culture. If the women are wearing a certain thing, don't tell them they need to wear something different. If they believe in a certain belief system, don't try and convince them they're wrong.
And that's what here in the States, you see a lot of that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ladies who wear the, what is that called on top of their head?
The hijab?
Yes, and then right behind them is a nun. Uh-huh. And so, okay, you're not saying nothing to her, but you're saying it's to her.
Well, didn't you notice it too, like on, because now you're connected to all these different media sources and Facebook and stuff. Now, what music has always done, and Hubert's been visionary in this, in the way he does it, the music is for everybody. The music is a uniting factor. It doesn't matter.
There's no
all
color,
this other
religion,
stuff.
politics.
No, it just has nothing to do with it. And it has music has a certain spiritual content if it's played well, and it's good music, of kind of erasing all of that stuff, which I think is more artificial. And, I don't get into politics. I don't talk about it. Everybody's got their side about it. But for me, music is at a higher level than that.
Exactly.
And that's why it's good to have it. That's why jazz is such a great thing. Now, some stuff happens. I know I'm talking to you, but listen how silly this is. So, and Hubert's going to hate me if he's listening for telling this story, but I think it's funny. So, we get our sound check. We're all set up. Everything's groovy. We've done a rehearsal, and we're playing the first tune of the gig. And it's this one that's kind of like a funky 70s thing called Bloodshot, and it's one of his compositions. So we play it. We come to the end. Yeah. We have this crowd, and it's mostly young people, and I thought that was crazy. Hubert's crowd was like people in their 20s and families in their 30s, and I think the cover charge was a lot. It was like $200 or something like that.
Whoa!
I mean, it wasn't that big of a venue. It only seated about it was sold out. Every gig was sold out. So he gets on the. Oh, sorry, man. Sorry, Hubert. I gotta tell you. He gets on the microphone at the end of the first song, and he says, "Welcome to my concert. I'm very happy to be here in India, and I'd like to get to know my fans and my audiences personally. In fact, whenever I have a problem with my Macintosh, I've probably called
Oh
and
my
spoken to many of you here.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Dude, no.
You have reached tech support. Right.
And I'm like,
Oh.
no, you
He
didn't
did.
start off the whole gig with that.
No, he didn't.
He
did
did.
Oh.
He did, and I'm looking out there, and a couple of people are kind of going, ugh. And other people are just, didn't understand English anyway,
So, he didn't.
so it doesn't matter. But I just thought, of all the opening lines
I
for
thought it
a
was going to
gig,
be something else.
that's probably the...
Probably called you for tech support. Well, you never
Whenever
know.
my Macintosh is broken, I'm sure I've spoken to many of
Oh
you
my gosh.
to help me repair my computer.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
please, dude. That was nuts.
If you're joining us, Rob Mullins, here, he used to be from Denver, but now he went and took off on us. But he's still
Well,
here
I'm still
in Denver.
coming back.
He's still, look where he's at, back in Denver.
Hey, I wanted to just send a shout out to Ken and Breckenridge. Yes, Henry's show is live on TV. It's on Facebook. And how can he get it? He's listening, but he doesn't have the video feed.
Oh, yeah, you can go to my site there, and I did a watch party, which everybody can see.
Okay.
And they log on, and then I'm going to share it over to KUHS.
Okay, so
I couldn't
he's-
do it as quick because,
So
usually
it's on Facebook, Ken. He's got a Facebook watch party going
Yeah.
for KUHS.
and also under my name.
On Facebook and also
Henry Archuleta.
and under Henry Archuleta. So you can take a look at what we got going on here. We're having a great time today. This is the day after. How was your Christmas?
Oh, it was
Anyway.
great. Christmas is always cool.
Is
I always
it?
I always like Christmas. Great food.
Yeah.
And, there's a standing joke that everybody talks about. If you're Mexican and you don't have no money for presents, buy tamales, you'll have something to unwrap. That's not good. That's not good, but, that's what I always say. I always say that, it's like, it's just for grins,
That's great, man. Well, the crazy thing for me is that my dad got me into Mexican food when I was really young. And we used to eat it at this place called Francis Cafe out in the desert because he would go out to all the golf tournaments. He was
So
like
he
Arnold
did.
Palmer and the Bob Hope Classic. He found this place. So I got into green chili when I was like 4. Well, now I have a favorite place I've been going since high school called...
And you have to have it, don't you?
You gotta
It's
have
like,
it.
You gotta have it.
My place is Las Delicias.
Yes, yeah.
The original
good stuff.
location, 19th and Penn.
Yeah, downtown.
Guacamole tostada.
Mm.
It's that. And I rarely eat tamales there because I just love that green chili so much.
That's right, it's so good. Las Delicias has about, 3 or 4, 5.
That's what I've heard is like now they've expanded.
Yes, they've got one out this way here. Yeah,
really?
off of 84th area.
I might have to go through there on my way
Yeah.
to my 2 o'clock today.
You just go down 84th, go up. I forgot
It's a free commercial for Las Delicias today.
And we do a lot of that too. We'll give them some shout outs and give us some plugs. There's a lot of different things that go on. We do a lot of the events, a lot of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
We had a free one we got behind
really?
right in Colorado at the Armory. That Armory is a beautiful place.
Nobody got shot.
No, it's a beautiful place.
Really?
Yeah, it's a beautiful
To put on a concert?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really nice. It's and they've been having all the different local bands and national groups come through there and
Cool.
do gigs. And so
Really
we did
cool.
a free one in there. And everybody said, "Well, how much does it cost?" It's free, gratis, free, gratis. And
Wow.
we couldn't say it enough.
Right.
Where do I get tickets? Free.
Mhm.
We couldn't say it enough.
Wow.
Everybody said, "Huh?"
Well, it's a great thing. I mean,
Yeah, do something. We've always done a lot of good things for our community, and we keep doing it, and it never stops. And so that's what's made our station grow and grow.
Well, I'm wishing you just a tremendous amount of success.
There's a lot of us
because
here.
I
didn't know that.
Well, I saw. I was looking at the website after they tried to sell me weed at the wrong website
Yeah.
this morning. But I was looking at your website. It's a pretty big staff. It's like 12 to 18 people.
18 people.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, wow, he's really got it going on.
And we got remotes, and we do the Osmos. We go out and do the remotes, so we can carry live feeds from
Okay.
some of the gigs. And
That's
we
cool.
sometimes even go on stage, like if you're jamming there, people will get in close and give people some.
Well, let's do some stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
this is our first time, so let's
Yeah.
find some. Hey, should we play any of my music in this
Sure.
hour?
And
We're going to be at the end of the hour here
yes,
soon.
if we do, what we're going to do, we're going to get off the radio component,
Okay.
and the music will play instead. Okay, so
Okay.
right now we're going to move off the radio component and play some of the music, and I've got it ready to go.
Cool.
And it's going to be really nice if you want to hear it. Samba, is that the first one you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
play, or which one do you
Beautiful.
want to play?
Samba's great.
Okay, so right now we're going to switch over to the music, so stick around and listen to the great music, and you'll like this. Okay, so here we go. So we're playing some samba. I'll try to patch it into the studio here.
Oh, beautiful.
This is Rob Mullins. You want to check that out? On the radio side, they can hear just the music. They can't hear us talking right now.
Oh, okay. All right, so you can tell stories about them.
Yeah, you can. But we're on 2 live feeds.
Fantastic.
I love piano. You know I've always loved piano. You probably didn't know this.
I didn't know that.
But let me tell you a story.
Okay.
I owned a piano store. Called
Here in town?
Bonnie's Classic Pianos.
Wow.
That's why I know so much about the piano.
Yeah, you know a lot, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Where was it located?
On 38th and Reed Street, up in
Okay.
Wheat Ridge.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to sell the Boers and Dopers, the Model Ls. We used to sell it all.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
And that's the
Now,
love
do you
bit.
play piano on
Yes,
your
sir.
own? Oh, okay.
Not as good as Rob Mullins.
Yeah.
Come on, give me a break.
Well, did you practice?
I played the player piano.
Oh, yeah.
You play the player piano. Play
That
yourself.
practice thing ends up being kind of a
Yeah, you
deal
get-
breaker, yeah.
And you start being like, I can't be like, oh, yeah, that really sounds good. No.
Man, it was funny in those early days because, you know, the 70s and the 80s here was kind of an underground scene
It was.
with the whole drug culture, too.
Yes.
But
And
there
now
was,
you come back. What do you think? It's legal here in Denver. What do you think? I mean, it's like.
well, what I like, I mean, it's legal in California. It has been a long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I see it for, and I'm not a weed person.
Right.
You know, when I was younger, it was a different story. But now, the thing is, this.
Now you're a weed person. No,
Well,
just
now,
kidding.
now the thing is that the weed is so strong. It's like
Yeah.
taking 10 shots of heroin to take one puff off of a joint. It's nuclear level power. I mean, it is.
I love
So
it.
it is.
Nuclear
It's
level.
nuclear.
Steve Salzy's one of our BDJs.
Mhm.
Did you hear that? It's nuclear powered.
That stuff is crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the last time, yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. So, but what I like the most about it is I like the names of the places that sell it.
Yes.
You know, not the weed, but it's like, you know,
They
the
come up with
green,
some really
the
good
green
stuff.
doctors, and you know, all the. I remember South Broadway. The first time I went down South Broadway and started looking at all
All
these
these
places,
different
like,
names.
yeah, they got really creative.
What's the name of the coffee company that everybody goes to?
Starbucks,
They call it Starbuds.
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 That's crazy.
So we've got all kinds of different names. I mean, we ought to have a name the store
Yeah.
contest or
Oh, yeah.
something and win some Rob Mullins
Stuff,
CDs.
sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got product. I got product for that.
And you can go to his. You can go to his
website.
website and check it out. You know.
Oh yeah, I remember making this tune right here in Denver.
Yep.
I did this one over at Daystar Studios. I'm going to send a shout out to Kirk Hutchinson at Daystar Studios. And, Pat McNulty texted in. I've been listening since 12:30. That tech support thing with Hubert was hilarious.
You're getting freaking down. That is good stuff.
Well, you know, that's what I said about that practice. But a lot of people don't know I was a drummer first. I played drums before I played
That's
piano.
why you do some good
So I
songs.
do a lot of drum percussion kind of
Yes.
things on the piano, and I'm actually playing the drums on this tune too, and the percussion.
Serious.
Yeah, taking my drum solo right now.
Now that's what I play too.
Oh really?
I was a drummer in band,
Uh huh.
but they wouldn't let me. I wanted the keyboard.
Right.
No, you go drum. Okay.
Well, you know, in the high school situation, I was
That's
lucky.
what it was. Yeah.
I was lucky that I had a good guy at Lincoln, but some of the other guys, maybe in your school too, it wasn't that great because they would say stuff like, "Well,
Yeah.
we don't have enough trombone players for marching band, so you get a trombone."
Yeah. So
And did you ever want to play trombone?
I learned how to play it.
Well, I
because
had to
that's
play
the
it
thing.
too.
Yeah. What's going on here? It's like, I mean, it's real easy.
No,
It's real
man.
easy to play the trombone.
I
You
don't
get a
think
lot of
so.
air.
Well, if you don't play it well.
Yeah.
I didn't play it well, but I didn't like some of the school aspects, and luckily for me, my high school director didn't like marching band either, so it was a
great freaking tune.
This is Latin jazz, man.
I hear
This is
it.
one of my biggest hits. It's a Latin jazz tune. I was going to mention that too, that out of all the songs that I've written,
Now I can
the
pull
ones
these down,
that,
right?
oh yeah,
so I can put them in my.
Oh yeah,
screen
yeah,
there.
you got them all, man. You gotta just right click on them and save them to your drive, and you can do anything you want. And
I'll do all of them together in one shot as
Sure,
a tribute
right.
to, because I do a thing called, and it's really nice to be able to do this, and it's I call it 3 on the tree, 4 on the floor, or a 5-piece, or
5 in the hive.
yes, all the different things like that. And if I grab
6 in the mix.
or a 6-pack.
7 in heaven.
You know them all.
All right, so that was Samba. That's coming towards the end there, and yeah, really cool.
Good stuff. Very, very good stuff.
Really cool.
Can we play the next one?
Yeah, sure, man.
Making Love.
Let's play Making Love.
This is Making Love. Oh, where did you get that one from?
Well, this is
Were you making love? Oh yeah. Hold on, babe. Hold on. Let me write this.
It's funny because I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, saw the girl that I wrote this about.
Really?
Yeah, because her dad was a band director here in town, and a bunch of us went to his rest home. He's older now, and he's got Alzheimer's. But we went over to his rest home just to kind of hang, and I hadn't seen him since the 70s, and I hadn't seen her since the 80s when I wrote this timber. And I walked in, and this guy's got Alzheimer's, and I walked in and he goes, Rob Mullins! How you doing, baby? I mean, I couldn't believe it. He remembered so much out of that period.
Well, Rob, a lot of people remember you here in Denver.
Well, I had a good community support base because people were really.
When I was posting this up here, saying, "You're not having Rob. Is this you're gonna do it on the back screen? Because I can patch in from the back. No, in the studio.
Yeah, live.
And I even made the post that in the studio.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And everybody says that's fucking slick.
Well, I'm happy to be here. And the funny thing about this era and this song was that the drum machine had just been invented.
You remember that? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and Kurt had a Lindrum machine at his studio. So I was farting around with it and doing this and that. And it came with a bunch of pre-packaged beats that were hit beats.
So yeah, you hit them. And
so I hit one, and it was the beat from Beat It from Michael Jackson.
Right.
And I thought, wow, man, I know that beat. That's cool. What if I slow it down to quarter note equals 100 BPM? That was like boom, 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 boom. And I thought, if I put the bass part on the keyboard from Pink Panther, which is where I stole it, da 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 da. Pink Panther walks down. It's in the same key as Pink Panther. And within about an hour, I had the genesis of this groove, which ended up being the one that really kind of put me up there. With people still, I bumped into John Patitucci, the bass player with Chick Corea a couple of years ago in the airport. And he's like, Rob Mullins, Making Love. Boo-doo, boo-doo. And he walked off with his bass. He didn't even stop and talk. He just remembers this.
Yeah. Now, do you do the NAMM?
Yeah.
Out there in California?
Yeah, I've been to a lot of the NAMM conventions, and honestly, Henry, right now I'm kind of NAMMed out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I did 26 years of them.
Oh, so you're always there.
And so I'm kind of like, and plus it's local in my town, so I was like, and at some point I don't think they're going to, until they can get a grand piano to fit on this, and then you blow in the end and it goes boom, and it does that. Then I'll probably stay away until they make that. But wouldn't that be great if they could figure that out?
Now, listen to some of this music. You got some, a lot of 7ths, 9ths. You do 13ths and all that kind of stuff in there. So I can tell you just chop away like a drummer. Because, like you said, drummers that go from the drums to keyboards, you can hear it. The beat is so clean.
Right.
I mean, you're right with it.
You're funky that way. But
now, some of the bands, have you ever played with a full-fledged horn section 5-piece?
Oh yeah.
Where they kick it like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've been in a lot of all-star bands.
Yes.
Now, probably the most incredible all-star band I was ever in that nobody's ever heard of was Bruce Willis and the Accelerators.
The real Bruce Willis?
The real Bruce Willis. Yeah. And these songs are long. If you want to fade it and go back to the video.
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay.
We're on the video. The videos are live.
Videos.
We never get off the video.
Okay, great. But I got this call in '99 from a great guitar player friend of mine, Miles Joseph. He's not around now, but he He and I had been doing a few shows around LA. Incredible. He was with Aretha Franklin for like years. And he said, hey man, the keyboard player for Bruce Willis can't make this tour coming up because he plays with Guns N' Roses and he's going to go off with Guns.
Yeah.
So, do you have a passport? And I said, yeah, I do. And he says, good, you're in because we're leaving Tuesday. Bruce called, we got to have somebody, it was Sunday night.
Over here right away, so we
Sunday night, and there was no rehearsal.
Just, oh, you don't have
No, the flight was Tuesday. And it was all over Europe. And I said, man, Bruce Willis has a band? And he says, you are not going to believe it. So
badass.
we get over there. We had the Memphis Horns.
Jesus.
From Memphis.
Jesus.
The original guys. Like they're 70-year-old dudes.
But they
We had
jam.
David Woodford on there on Barry. He was in there. And then we had Skunk Baxter and Miles from Steely Dan and Miles
Jesus.
on guitar. Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty on drums. I mean, it was...
He's a monster.
It was stupid. It was a 14-piece band, 3 girl backup singers,
Jesus.
and 6 crew, including 2 bodyguards.
My God. Well,
And so we got over there, and the first gig was in Zurich, Switzerland, because what Bruce was doing is he was grand opening all the Planet Hollywoods.
Oh shit! How easy is that?
Right, because that was his restaurant, him and Stallone and Schwarzenegger, right? So we would go open this one, and then we go to Dubai and open one, and then we play the anniversary in London.
Jesus.
That was first class
Fun
and
and fun,
unbelievable.
right.
It was really easy music. 3 chords and 5 stars.
So we're gonna go to
Yeah.
the next one, and then we're gonna probably call it Japanese Girl.
Oh yeah.
Japanese Girl. Tell me about this one.
This was one that I wrote after I met this guy at the Baked Potato. You know, the Baked Potato in LA is a famous jazz club. You ever hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in the Baked Potato one night and just hanging out, and it was break time. The band was playing. I can't remember who was playing that night, but I mean they had everybody. Like guitar night, there would be Eddie Van Halen,
Jesus.
Steve Lukather from Toto, and Michael Landau. And 18 Marshall stacks, 3 guitar players. You didn't even have to go into the bar because 2 blocks away at the Mexican place, you could hear the music fine. It was that freaking loud. But this
Rob,
guy,
you're all right. You're bringing so much to this show.
man,
You brought the personality of Rob Mullins to Denver.
all right, man.
If you don't get to hear it now, you're going to hear it later because I'm going to push it. You're going to hear this bing bing. What's the slide? Bing bing bing. You're going to get it.
So anyway, the guy comes up and he says, I've been looking to meet you for years. I thought you were in Denver. And I said, well, I'm out here now. And he says, I'm a manager and a label guy from Tokyo.
Whoa.
And do you want to go to Japan? And I said, heck yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, right? So we got together the next day at his hotel. We put a little contract together. We started getting the tour plans. And man, it was like the world opened up for me over there.
Big
Now,
time.
what I didn't realize is he was mafia. I didn't realize that because I was
There's a lot of people with that.
just kind of young and kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, Carmen Grillo from Big Surprise Studios in Encino, California says hi, Henry.
How you doing?
And let's see, what else does Carmen say? He's saying, he says, great radio voice and a great face for radio.
Now you said that when you came in.
I said that at 12:16, Carm. You missed it by a half hour, but that's great to see you, man, and happy holidays.
Now here's the thing about in here, and we revolutionized the radio component by bringing them live.
Right.
So everybody in town, like if they're corporate, they only could be on a little while. Well, we control where this goes.
See,
And
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're getting to see this, it's Rob Mullins live in the studio for a full hour. Okay.
Yeah, we're having a great time here. Henry and I are just kind of going through it, and we were talking about Japan and what that was like. So, I got over there, and I was nervous. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was nervous about going there. I'd never been there.
It's beautiful.
And they flew us on Singapore Airlines, which was the most beautiful group of female flight attendants I'd ever seen. We got on the plane, and I was like, man, if
Let me stay in the
if
plane.
they're all like this, we'll just stay on the plane. We'll just fly around, have Bloody Marys. And I went with the two local guys here, Larry Thompson on drums, and Marty Ruddy was my bass player. So what I didn't realize is when I got there is that those guys were non-dairy vegetarian eaters. Not good. Because we had sponsors, and the sponsors had us to this lunch.
And you have to eat it to make it
$1,500 a plate lunch.
Whoa.
$1,500 a plate. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and my manager's like, I hope the fish is going to be okay. I'm thinking, oh, Marty will be able to eat fish. And Marty's like, no fish. I'm going, oh man. I'm like, what about spaghetti?
Oh
no.
no.
I'm like, is it vegetarian? I'm like, oh God. And then he was really picky about it, so they had to call the translator over. And I'm just so embarrassed because I'm just meeting like
All these people.
the owner of the largest wedding company, this $10 billion grounds in this garden in Saratoga. I'm just meeting all these guys, and they're kind of looking at me and Marty. And
Like, what the
Marty brings over the translator, and he goes, here's what he says. This is crazy. He goes, I want to find out if this food that you're going to bring out, if there was ever fish or meat cooked in that pan in the history of the pan.
Oh shit. You're like,
I wanted to crawl under the table and die. I did. I was like, shut up and eat your food. You're going to cost us the gig.
Rob, you're incredible. Bringing these stories you bring in.
I'm not making any of this
No,
up.
I hear you. You know, you didn't get to be up close and personal with Rob Mullins till today like this, knowing what's going on.
We went ahead and we had a great tour, but he was very picky, and he ended up with soybeans.
Soybeans.
That was it, man. He ended up with edamame the rest of the tour.
So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with this song a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and patch back into the radio component.
Great.
Because they still want to hear from you.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who like to listen to the radio component.
Cool, man.
So what we'll do, we'll leave this going in here, and we'll dial this back, and we'll go back into the radio portion, and we can talk about it. Rob?
Yes, sir. Wow, this is really high tech, man. For those of you that can't see this whole bevy of devices, it's kind of like being inside a Boeing 747 or something. He's got like screens all over the place, and there's little counters, and then there's like Star Wars junk, like being around on the screens.
In these crazy cameras. Have you ever seen a Mevo?
I don't.
Long, skinny camera.
It looks like a microphone.
Yes, and here's the way it works. So it takes its own shots, 9 different shots.
What?
I can pick the shots I want, and so we can go running around picking the shots.
Wow.
And so
incredible.
And that's what I'm doing right now. So it picks the shot. It's picking that shot. It's got facial recognition, audio recognition.
Wow.
And so it's really cool what this thing can do.
9 shots at once.
And so it's like having 9 cameramen inside the studio taking the shots for me.
That's cool.
And I only do 1 or 2 so that way, because usually I'm in the back room, because we have another back room where I actually produce, but
okay.
I wanted to be in here with you, so I do it right off here.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we ever get to the point to where we're going to remake the Brady Bunch, we'll go to like the 6-shot one. And we'll have, there's a story, boop, there'll be like one, you know.
And that's what it does.
There'll be the drummer, then you have the bass player.
You know what's strange about this thing, too? Now, it's AI, it's artificial intelligence.
Uh-huh.
And what it does is, so like, let's say we take a shot of you, it'll even readjust it and then even kind of go in on it, and then it says face.
Okay.
And it knows, it'll say it down there. I don't know if you can see that. No, watch, it's pretty sick. It'll identify what we're doing.
Wow, man.
And
Where's the one that says refresh makeup? Oh, the wide shot. I like the wide shot.
You like the wide shot?
I like the wide shot. Wide shot's cool.
So
Absolutely.
you can see, like, as we're playing around, you can actually come back in here and you can see people talking right, and we'll just say yes.
Super cool. Yeah, man, this is just so fun to be in here with you, just getting to know you.
And I'm glad you got to come in here, and I'm glad you scheduled this, because I'd like to have some of the jazz people in, because you brought so much. You brought that humor. That humor is big here, and so I like to use humor myself. And
well, why should we all be so serious all the time, Henry?
That's right.
I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to turn the tables on you. I'm going to ask you a question. Like,
so
what?
You're going to interview me.
Well, just one question. Doesn't pan out when it's back the other way.
Don't expose me, whatever you do.
No, but I mean, really seriously, is there some reason that humor shouldn't be an important ingredient in everyone's life?
Everybody's. And if
Right.
you notice every show, there's always something in there with humor. And like with, we had a couple of new shows, and before you know it, Dr. Elisa, she's going to be laughing, joking. This is her first.
She was really serious.
Yeah, she was.
She was serious.
And
I was outside getting ready to donate something.
She's a professor from Regis College. And
Oh.
so she was talking about New Year's resolutions and stuff like that.
Oh.
And she was going over that. You don't need to
She seemed like she was a real healing. She had that healing voice, where if you could model that healing voice and just have that talk to you, you'd go right out at night.
And she talks about how to handle your money, all this fun stuff.
Uh-huh. Well, that'd be a good class for musicians.
Yeah. You can never.
Don't buy Fender Rhodes.
Those
smoke
things are
weed.
hard to find now.
They are. They're really expensive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a good one
stuff.
is really hard
They
to find.
sounded so good, too.
Well, they still do. And Hubert Laws, the flute player I've been talking about, he wrote all of his big hits on a Fender Rhodes in his apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah, see, and Fender Rhodes really put out that dynamic sound. You can patch it right into your audio of the board and
Right.
say, oh, man.
Yeah, there's nothing like a good Fender Rhodes.
Yeah, and do you still have one?
No, I don't, but, I have access
To all
to them
of
from the keyboard heads.
Yeah.
Because this was my thing this past year. I got to where I was at a stage in life where I had way too much physical stuff. Like just, rooms of keyboards and wires and furniture and boxes of stuff. I had a box of fan mail that I probably shouldn't tell this, but what the heck, I'm out of time. I had a box I'd been throwing all the fan mail since about 1990
Wow.
into this huge moving box. It was like a 3-foot square and about 2.5 feet high box. And I was just traveling so much, I didn't have time to read all that stuff. I threw it all into this box. And then about a year ago, I opened the box and I looked and I went, holy crap, there's got to be like 1,300 letters in there.
Whoa.
And presents and like weird stuff some people sent. Like, articles of clothing that don't see the light of day and they're never supposed to. Stuff like that. Now you remember
that is really funny.
You remember Tom?
I was getting these pictures.
You remember Tom Jones, right?
Oh, of course, yeah, he's out there now.
Okay, so listen to
He's in
this.
San Fran, I think, isn't he?
He's actually in Bel Air. He has a
Yeah.
house in Bel Air. But this is funny. I had this is great. My friend, I won't say her name because she's a grower in Humboldt County. She says, "Don't smoke weed, huh? We can't be friends anymore."
Oh my God.
Okay, you can unfriend me. That's fine. I'm making new friends. But anyway, my buddy Mark had played with Tom Jones, and he'd done his first tour with Tom. And this was in like 1989 or 90.
Oh, so way back.
Yeah, way back. He was playing with Sheena Easton,
Yeah,
who was
I
huge,
remember her, yeah.
and Tom Jones. Those were his two big. So he comes back, and we're having breakfast at this place. And I'm like, dude, you're back from the tour. How'd it go? You're with Tom Jones. He says, man, it was just so easy, and there's all those women and everything. I said, well, I remember they used to say that they would throw the panties up on the stage.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Tom would be getting hit with this stuff. Do they still do that? And he said, yes, they do, but now they're like this big across.
Oh my God, Rob.
Rim shot. Hey, that's not my joke.
Oh boy.
That's somebody else.
I sure hope the ladies don't start writing me, what kind of, that's not funny. Now pass me the Geritol.
Yeah, right. Well, that's one thing I noticed is that time happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So
But Tom Jones was on one of the, I think it was America's Got Talent, or one of those shows.
as a
And-
judge, or
Yeah, and one of the younger gals started singing, and she kept teasing him. And so, trying to sing his song, and all of a sudden he started singing his song. Man, the man still had it. I
the
mean,
voice is incredible.
Whoa, he came out there and just got after it.
Yeah.
I thought, Jesus.
Man, he's not messing around.
No.
And Hubert's that way at 80 years old. He
Yeah.
picks up the flute, and it's just like he was when he was 20.
Yes, and it's just
It's incredible.
Stevie Wonder too. With
Stevie,
his,
yeah.
his harmonica, and he was playing at the White House.
I have some Stevie stories, but I can't tell them on air.
Oh, I hear you.
But I'll tell them to you
After. Now,
After
did
we
you ever play in
wrap.
the White House with any of the stars? 'Cause
No,
some of
I
those things
didn't. I thought, well, that was one thing where I felt like politically it was a good thing that when Bill Clinton was president, he had saxophone players.
That's what I'm saying. All these different people.
He was a sax player.
Yes. Mhm.
So then he kind of screwed up though.
Yeah.
He made a. But he had, I remember Everett Harp went in there.
Yeah.
I remember Kenny G went in there. He had a lot of guys come in.
Top players.
That's what they need to do now. Is they just need to get more musicians, get more music.
But nobody wants to go into the White House anymore.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't have any comment on that.
Dark side of the moon. No, we better not go there.
I don't think we should go there either. Well, is there anything else on photos on the website we should talk about?
Sure, we'll go over a few of those things.
The Joyful Noise album, we can talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I was talking to you about that earlier. And
yeah. Now, let's talk about that cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things, being I guess, what did they call me? They called me it was years later, they had this term called the do-it-yourselfers, like DIY, do-it-yourself. And sometimes I'd have a budget for an album, and it's an up and down business, so I'd be famous and everybody would love me and everything would be great, and then the record company would go under owing me $100,000, and I'd be like out on the street with a banjo again. So this
put, Rob.
Well, it's an up and down business, and when I teach or I do these mentoring programs, through my school and this and that, I tell people it's not going to be a smooth road.
That's right.
It's going to go up and it's going to go down, and you got to be real careful. And remember that rich people are really as easy to fall in love with as poor people.
That's right.
And then you have your backer. But on this thing, on the Joyful Noise cover, we had done a tour of Japan, and we were with this huge festival in northern Japan, up in Hokkaido, and they have this dance troupe thing called the Awa Odori Dance Troupe, and it's a traditional thing that fits right along with the American Blues Shuffle. So I had received that little box. You see, it's a wooden box on the album cover. It's almost actual size there. It's about 5 inches tall and a foot across, and each one of those characters is a specific person in that dance company. And thousands of these troops all come to that city.
Wow.
And every year it's this huge thing. Now, the thing on the bottom of the little piano was actually a pepper shaker.
Wow. Is it right?
Out of my kitchen.
It looks like you had this really done up and stuff. But
man.
But that's imagination.
I was walking around on Washington Boulevard in Culver City looking for this photographer's place, because he had done some creative stuff, and I had just this bag of junk off my shelf.
Yeah.
I had the box, and I had the salt and pepper shaker, and I had some other stuff, and keyboard scarf and this and that. And the guy who laid that out, I don't remember his name now, but he just did a great job.
He did. It's attractive. That's why I looked at it. I said, man, look how cool this is.
Well, it tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after I put it out, then one of my Japanese friends said, in that particular pose, they're making fun of Americans.
Wow.
They're thumbing their nose. Guys like you. Like, oh, that's great.
That's great.
How was I supposed to know that? But they do crazy stuff in Japan, man. I remember buying my first tourist T-shirt. Like, did you ever buy a tourist T-shirt when you're young? Like, get a Led Zepp or Rolling Stones, or
all the time.
You go to New York City, you get the subway
and
one.
wear them all the time.
Right.
And wear out. Be 20 years old, tore up, and you still wear it.
Yeah. So I mean, we were shopping around Japan. It was my first trip. I was like, okay, cool, man. I'm gonna get like some hip T-shirt. And then with the Asian characters on there, I'm gonna be super cool when I go back to Denver. I'm gonna be all Orientalized and really great. Ooh, let's talk about your shirt. So I buy this shirt of this place, and the guy was like looking through the stuff, and my manager was there, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy will help you get a shirt." So I get a shirt, and it's got 2 big symbols on it here, and it's short sleeved. And I was young and built great and everything. I'm proudly walking around Japan in a shirt, and people are actually trying not to laugh, and they're trying not to stare at me while I'm walking around with this shirt. I had it on like 4 or 5 hours, and finally we go to dinner, and I said, "Paul, everybody's like, I love this new shirt, but nobody seems like I'm not making any friends. People are laughing at it. What's the deal?" He said, "Well, did you ever think to ask anyone, what do these 2 characters mean?" I said, "No." I didn't think of what he said. This one means ladies' room that way, and that one means men's room that way.
No, Jesus Christ, you're wearing it. Oh my gosh, that's why they're laughing at you.
That's why they were laughing at me, so I don't know.
Okay, Rob Mullins, before we end this show, because we have another guy stepping in here in a
Yes,
little while.
sir.
Shout out to everybody, all your friends, your neighbors, your brothers, others, lovers, mothers, sons, and former roommates.
Wow, former roommates. Gosh, thank God I don't have really any former roommates. They all committed suicide, died in a fire, or smoked some of that nuclear weed, and they're no longer in their body.
Oh, that's freaking funny.
But no, I want to say thanks everybody for your support through all these decades and 37 albums worth of a recording career. I couldn't do it without fans. I couldn't do it without your sponsorship. It's always encouraging to me to see your Facebook messages and your emails and your texts that come through. And, you know, thank you so much for allowing me the honor of being able to
Be here at KUHS.
you know, to be
Radio
here
TV
and
International.
to continue doing what I love all these years, because I don't have any plans on stopping, and it's just great, man. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
been
much.
real.
It was a lot of fun.
I really had fun having you.
We
in
had a
here,
good
Rob.
time
It's
today.
been
It was
real.
great fun.
So we'll end
Yeah.
the watch party here in a little bit. We'll give it one more minute so we can say goodbye.
Yeah, cool.
Rob Mullins, originally from Denver, Colorado, now lives on the West Coast, but he still comes to Denver. And you know, I'm so glad that he made contact with me, because I did have a slot open to get him in here and
Oh yeah.
have a up close and personal with Rob Mullins, which is kind of rare in Denver.
Well, this
For
has been fun.
all
I
these
mean,
other stations don't do it like we do it. Everybody watches to see how the hell they doing that.
Well, you've got the AI 9-camera single guy with the
Yeah.
stuff there.
And then the international camera, and I'll show you where that's being broadcast out of too.
Oh, yeah, cool.
You can take a look at that. We have a TV widget built into it.
Wow.
And so with the TV widget, you're also broadcasting live all over the world. For those who can't
Unbelievable.
get social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or it's called, you know, all the different ones that carry it. And, you know, now LinkedIn's gone live too.
Oh, wow.
With this AI, we can actually push of a button. We can go to all the platforms, including Vimeo and YouTube.
Wow.
So
High tech, baby.
yeah, and so
You got it all
right
going
now
on.
we've got this one right here, and so you're going to be right behind her.
Oh, yeah, that's the doctor
Yeah.
with the soothing voice.
Yes, and she just finished up, and you're right here. And I'm going to say stop streaming once we're done up there, and so.
Well, I can't tell you how much fun it was, man. I really had a good time. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Congratulations on all your success. I mean, it's,
You look at this play early because the guys from New York.
well, it's a
come in and
nice
say,
building.
Yes.
And, you know, usually, I remember in the old days, like, you'd pull up to
radio
a place
station.
and you're like, am I going to get knifed just trying to get out into the back door and up the stairs? But the building's beautiful. Studio is great. Well organized. Classy operation, man.
And then the next step on that one, it's lots of safeguard here. We have plenty of cameras, because some of the things and some of the people we do bring in here cause a little bit of risk. Sometimes we bring politics in here.
Oh, you mean you play reggae?
Yeah. You know, that's a good idea. We should be playing reggae. So now we're going to switch over to the radio portion and finish out the Smoothie Jazz Show here on KUHS. It's been a real pleasure having Rob Mullins here in the studio. And for those who are watching on the international camera, thank you for joining us, and also Rob Mullins for joining us here today. Thank you again, Rob, for it's been real. It's been fun.
Oh, yeah, man.
And with that, we say goodbye for now.